Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy. Because I'm easy come, easy go, little high, little low. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. To me. Mama.
I think what makes Bohemian Rhapsody so special is that at the time, there really wasn't much anything like it. And being an epic, a very sort of art rock type of song, it appealed to the mainstream music listeners. So if you're a pop music fan or anything like that, you still got into that song, which is, I play progressive rock a lot in a bunch of different bands, and trying to cross over to mainstream music listeners is really hard with that style of music, but they did it with that particular tune that almost everybody likes that song. So it's pretty special in that respect.
Well, the project is us doing an exact replica of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. Well, as exact as you can get, right? I mean, you can never get exact, but you just try to get every detail as close as humanly possible. And it was really the brainchild of Mark Hornsby, who's the director of the studios.
One of the most interesting things about Bohemian Rhapsody is part of the track is extremely simple. You've got guitar, bass, drums, piano, lead vocal. And then the other part of it is these turns in direction to this massive choreography of vocals coming from a lot of different influences. Pop, opera, rock. It really fuses things up, which I think is what has given it so much staying power and use over the years. The trick in the production side of that, first of all, how did they do all that back in the 70s? Second of all, if you wanted to recreate it, and you're not Freddie Mercury or Queen, how do you do it? And that's what we set out to figure out.
There are a couple of reasons why it's a pretty complex task to try to do a note-for-note version of Bohemian Rhapsody. Partly it's because when the band was doing it, they were kind of making it up. And so they would try things, and sometimes the things they'd try wouldn't work, but that doesn't mean that they still aren't somewhere in the track. It just means that there's some really odd note choices going on deep down in there that we have to somehow figure out how to make work.
For our recreation of Bohemian Rhapsody, we did it all with Telefunken microphones. This seemed very period appropriate for us. Telefunken is the leader in recreating the classic U47, the classic Elam 251, microphones that were used on a lot of records in the 60s and 70s. And that is our entire vocal sound between Nick, Nathan, Kat, everybody that was involved in recreating the vocals for this project. It's completely Telefunken large diaphragm condensers.
We will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah. We will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah. We will not let you go. Let me go. We'll not let you go. Let me go. We'll not let you go. Let me go. No, 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 no. Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me, for me, for me.
Obviously for guitar, we aren't Brian May, and we don't have him here to build his guitar for us. So Don Carr went to all the extent to take a guitar off the rack and fit it with some custom Seymour Duncan pickups.
Brian May's homemade Red Special guitar is a one-of-a-kind, man. It's a classic. It's totally iconic. So the key to me to really capturing the sound of the guitar is the pickups and the switching. So Seymour Duncan makes these trisonic pickups, which sound absolutely amazing. And what we did was we put the same switching that Brian uses, which is 3 on-offs and 3 out-of-phase switches. And we put it into a stock Stratocaster. A big component of Brian May's sound is his vintage Vox AC30s. Now those have been drug around the world multiple times, you know, over decades and modified, and since we don't have that, what we do have is a stock AC15 from Vox, and this is the one with the greenback speaker. I was so happy with the sound I got out of it. Brian uses the normal channel on his AC30s, and so a treble booster is a big part of his sound. Now, since I'm using the top boost channel on this amp, just a regular boost pedal is great. I love the flexibility of the Spark because you've got EQ and different gain staging. Some of the most unique sounds in Brian May's arsenal come from his homemade amplifier. Now, it was made by bass player John Deacon's dad. It was made from an old tube radio. One of the tricks I used to imitate those sounds was a wah-wah pedal. So what I was doing was I was moving the wah-wah pedal in different spots, different positions, giving it a slightly different filtered sound.
Drum miking, aside from recreating the vintage classic mics, Telefunken also has a great series of pretty affordably priced dynamic microphones, which sound great on drums and electric guitar. So the Telefunken M80 handheld mic, and the Telefunken M81. They also make short bodies of those. They work great on snare, toms. They make their own kick drum mic, the M82. On electric guitar, we use the M80 in combination with a ribbon microphone. For our recording of Bohemian Rhapsody, we're using a DW drum kit with Roger Taylor's DW Icon snare drum.
Roger Taylor is a DW endorser, so we use DW drums. We have this great maple DW Collector's Series kit and an Icon snare drum, Roger's signature snare drum on certain things, and stuck with that, lots of Zildjian cymbals as well, and tried to stay true to that sound and what Roger's playing today.
The piano is a very pivotal part of this track, especially in the first verse and at the ending where it's just the vocal and the piano exposed. So we used a pair of Telefunken Copperhead microphones, which are some mid-price point large diaphragm condensers. They're not recreations of the expensive vintage U47, 251, C12, that kind of thing. And they're not the inexpensive dynamic microphones either. They fall right in the middle. They sound great on a lot of different sources. And on our Yamaha C7, it seemed like a really good pairing when we were playing with different microphones and different placements to try to recreate the sound that is on the original song. When you listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, don't remember the song that you've heard on the radio 1,000 times. Think about it in terms of parts, voices, technology, and appreciation for all the things that go into making it the special thing that it is.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy. 'Cause I'm easy come, easy go, little high, little low. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me, to me. Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, but now I've got it, thrown it all away. Mama, ooh, didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, carry on. I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, 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 Figaro. Magnifico! I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go? Bismillah, no, we will not let you go. Let him go! Bismillah.